What's up, YouTube? Thanks so much for all your support. If you're loving this kind of content and you want to help us make more, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I appreciate you guys so much.
My first job was working at McDonald's, and I was in the back, wasn't necessarily in the front. So, I was flipping burgers, frying fries, even taking stock, putting all the inventory back into the freezer. I had a blast working at McDonald's. And of course, after working at McDonald's during that first few, I guess, year, I was there for like about 2 years, I believe, if I remember properly. And after when I got my first tax return, I was like, cool, I made 16 grand. And I was like 15 and a half at the time, probably about 16. Welcome to the chat, Scarlett. And then I realized, okay, well, I had $300 in my bank account. So what happened to that $16,000? And this is what taught me to actually go through my income and expenses and then see where was money actually going. So then I realized, yeah, I made 16 grand in a year as like a 16-year-old, but then I spent it all at McDonald's. So I was working to eat McDonald's. Excuse me. I spent it on going to the movies, hanging out with friends, and just basically spending it on food, clothing, and entertainment. So it's like, okay, something's got to change because we can't continue like this. And this jumps into one of the principles in my book, How to Never Be Broke Again, how essentially I went from being broke, starting from nothing, all the way to being financially independent enough to take care of other people. Well, that's all financial independence means. It means you can take care of yourself. And then from that point, you can actually have extra income, pay for, retiring parents, have kids, let's say, pay for their expenses, pay for employees, let's say. Like you actually have to pay your employees and pay your team. And then, of course, maybe there's other people that you want to be responsible for, build a community, things like that. Hard to do if you're broke and you can barely like pay yourself. Again, we covered yesterday, if you're actually more in debt than you have assets, you're actually worse off than broke. So that's like where you got to work hard to like take care of yourself at that point. Now, if you want to essentially never be broke again, you got to make more than you spend. Okay? Your income cannot be lower than your expenses. Your income has to exceed your expenses. It sounds super basic, but this gets ignored so much. Welcome, Pat. Welcome, Joe. The key there is anytime you get paid, especially if you're starting beginning, this is what I did. Anytime I'd get paid, I'd just make sure I was putting a certain amount towards investments and savings, and then the rest I could spend. But I'd already, again, paid myself first, which means for sure, if I pay myself first, it makes it way easier to be cash flow positive because, excuse me, I only have what's left over to spend. Okay? Always pay yourself first. Everyone else gets paid last. And even as an entrepreneur, I followed this on, rougher months where I was like, hey, everyone gets paid. The philosophy I had as an entrepreneur was kind of the opposite. It's like everyone gets paid first and then I get paid last. But then I realized that doesn't necessarily work. And it's actually easier if I pay myself first, go back to those how to never be broke again principles, right? Even as an entrepreneur, even if money's coming in, I would pay myself first, and this would allow me to see, okay, if other people can't get paid, who has to leave? Like, who's the lowest performer, basically? And without that lesson, I would not have, realized that, hey, like I'm spending way too much on, I had like people on the team I was spending way too much. I didn't realize, so this is my fault. But then they were just like not producing, right? You can't have that on a team. And that's where I learned, hey, you got to work with A players, not B players. So sounds super basic, right? Like make more than you spend. It gets totally ignored in financial literacy, which I find baffling, right? It's like, okay, of course you got to make more than you spend, but it's not put into practice, which is kind of crazy. So the mission here, let's see if I have this, share this on my screen. Mission here, we got two more missions. It's going to be one of the last ones. Let's see. Here we are. So the mission here is when you want to make more than you spend, you want to review your budget. Okay. By reviewing your budget, what that's going to do is it's going to make sure you're actually making more than you spend and that you can continue to increase income and actually acquire those assets. Okay. If you send me the DM budget, if you DM me the word budget on Instagram, I will actually send you a budget template completely free. You get access to that. And that's where you can really find out the difference between discretionary income, so like extra income that you have, and then you can cover all your living expenses. Okay. Key to being never broke again. Again, if your net worth is zero, awesome. You're broke, let's move you forward. If your net worth is above zero, awesome. We're getting towards financial freedom. And if your net worth is negative, you actually need to work hard to become broke. Very hard to get away from being broke if you're in debt and you don't have discretionary income. Meaning if you're already worse off than broke and you're spending more than you make, that is a recipe for disaster. So you don't want to get that. DM me the word budget, and then I'll send you that free budget template, and then you'll be able to move forward with that. Next, we're going to talk about the financial security number, and more importantly, the financial independence number. I think these are two numbers everyone should know. Otherwise, you're just working without an end in mind, and that can be dangerous as well. Let me just find out. Where is this? Share that next screen there. Give me a second. Oh, here we are. Perfect. Okay, so we want to know your financial security number. Okay, what is your financial security number? First, you want to find out what is your monthly personal expenses, times that by 12, meaning you're finding your annual personal expenses, and then divide that by the return on investment. So this is why it's actually important to gather assets, because you need to have some return on investment. It's basically impossible for you to become financially secure or financially independent without having some form of investment. Oh, that's good coffee. So your financial security number is actually your total net worth needed to be able to pay all your monthly expenses using only passive income from the return on your investment. So what kind of ROI are you using? You could use 0.1 or 10%. That's pretty high. High enough like compared to like the average, right? I like to use actually 0.05 or 5%. The reason why it's a lot more conservative, you can get that very easily just on like interest, S&P 500, stock market, in not even the best real estate deals, you can get that. And of course, you could get that just like even like GICs now. So like getting 5% ROI is pretty easy. I like that number because it's conservative. Now, interestingly enough, if you guys are good at math, if you take this number, the return on investment, and instead of dividing by that number, you times it by 10 if you're getting 10%, or times it by 20 if you're getting 5%, it's the same calculation. Reason for that, and the way you want to look at that, is timesing by 10 is like you're trying to gain 10 years of expenses. That's your financial security number, assuming you get a 10% return. If you want 20 years of expenses, that's like gaining a 5% return. Why? Just because one option is to actually eat away at your net worth and use it to then, live your life. The other side is if you invest it properly, you get your 5% return, your 10% return, or whatever. That principal that you put in, your net worth, doesn't actually go down. Instead, you're using the income created by the ROI to live your life, right? To become financially secure. Financial security is a great start. But it's not the end. There's financial independence, very similar calculation in this. And this is going to be essentially financial independence as your monthly income now times 12, so your total annual income, and then divide that by return on investment you're getting. So if it's 5% divided by 5%, 10% divided by 10%. This is a higher number because now it's assuming that, again, your income is higher than your expenses. So your financial security number should be lower than your financial independence number. Financial independence here, instead of personal expenses times 12, it's going to be personal income times 12. Very similar calculation, as you can see. And the key here is that you know where you got to go. Okay, you got to calculate your financial security number, hit that number, and then you're now financially secure. If you got to pay bills, you can pay bills for the next 10 to 20 years without having to worry about it. And also, if you decide to, let's say, sell some assets, well, now that's extra money in your pocket because now you're liquidating, pulling out some equity, right? Versus just living off of the interest or the return on investment. This is going to be important because without reaching financial security, well, it's hard to reach financial independence. That's how you want to take things to the next level, by actually calculating financial independence. Those are two probably most important numbers for financial literacy, next to cash flow, income, expenses, assets, and then debts and liabilities. And net worth. Oh, very important to cover those bases because now you have a direction to go. Okay, without understanding what's our security number, what's our independence number, we end up just like working without necessarily that goal. And it could be great if you're working and then you just by chance reach these numbers. That being said, it is going to help if you're a little bit more, let's say, intentional with reaching these numbers. Because yes, financial security number is not the end, but there is a beauty and a peace of mind that comes that as long as you're just patient and you hit that number, like you don't necessarily have to work for money anymore. Okay. Yeah, you're probably not going to increase your lifestyle and you're going to live the same life that you're already living. That being said, like now you don't have to worry about bills, right? You have money coming in to pay those bills. And then any extra income that you make is just cherry on top. Once you reach financial independence, then you don't have to work for money at all. Now you have the free time to do as you please. And then if you want to make more extra income, awesome. If not, that's great too. You can just enjoy your time. Okay. Time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. I believe they all go hand in hand. The important aspect, though, is to, again, be intentional with it. Okay. Because you can get financial independence and freedom, but then not be location free or even not have the time freedom because now you're like stuck in the business. Right? So I actually prefer time freedom just because something I've noticed now is as I've increased not just income, but like skills and like networking connections, sometimes it's actually a lot easier to make more money if I have more free time. And the reason for that is like I can just jump on calls if necessary. I can go travel if I want, go connect with other people. And the money just allows for that freedom. But the freedom itself of time is something you also got to be aware of. Okay. But something that I do teach in my financial abundance courses, something I'm looking to actually update and add a little bit more of the time management and being able to hack and get your time back, because that's also going to be key. Now, if there's something you're interested in with financial abundance, not only learning this of financial literacy, but really taking things to the next level, being able to understand and break down, okay, how do you develop an abundance mindset so that you can actually not be stuck in scarcity, not be scared when things get difficult financially, and understand and actually have a mindset that's positively looking at solving problems actively. This is actually going to allow you to not just reduce your anxiety around money, but also increase your opportunities because now your mindset is going to be focused on finding those deals, those opportunities, and helping you become financially abundant as a deal maker. Next, we also cover budget optimization. And that's going to help you and allow you to understand how to make a budget that is built around the life that you want and not just a budget that traps you in your life. That's not what we want. We want to show you how to optimize a budget. So as your business and as you grow personally, you don't have a budget that traps you, but instead you have a budget that empowers you to actually optimize it around the life that you actually want to live. Next is we cover multiple sources of income, or rapid income generation is what I call it. And this really allows you to add income sources in as little as 24 hours if needed, but also shows you all the different ways you can have multiple sources of income and then really build this out. And this is going to allow you to not just make more money, but also reach your financial security and independence numbers quickly so that you can give back to yourself, your family, maybe even your community, because now you're not dependent on just one source of income. Then we also cover debt hacking. And this is really where you understand, okay, how do you hack the debt and the credit system? How do you make these connections so you can have access to cheap debt? And this is going to be traditional bank loans, and understand, okay, how your credit card can be hacked so that you can either gain more points, have less interest, and also increase your credit score. And this is going to allow you to have even more access to capital for doing deals. Then finally, the last thing I always teach in the Financial Abundance Blueprint is going to be high level networking. And really, this allows you to learn the high level networking, connect with people that are going to help you bring more value to the world, bring more deals, close more deals, get more capital. And also, once you're around these high level people, it's going to allow you to feed off of their energy and then notice that the highest performers are always connecting with other high performers. Okay, this is going to be key because your net worth is totally your network. So if that's something you're interested in, seriously, it's something that you could reach out to me, right? So I just got a message here. Reach out, DM me the word blueprint. I'd love to help you out with that. And then you'll get access to that course. It's an awesome course, especially if you want to get into business, get into real estate, but you don't feel like you fully understand the financial literacy and the financial abundance just yet. No worries. Let's build you that foundation because that's what gets you to the next level. Get the Financial Abundance Blueprint. DM the word blueprint on my Instagram right now, and then I'll send you some more questions to see if you'd be a good fit. And then if so, awesome. I'd love to get you to that program. Now, if you're already interested in real estate, just message me. We can talk about that as well. That being said, this week, I really want to focus on the financial literacy aspect and then just help you guys have that good base so that once you're ready to jump into real estate and entrepreneurship, then it's possible. It's also going to be a lot easier, especially if you already have a positive net worth and you also understand that being broke is a mindset and you don't want to have that mindset whatsoever. Okay. Cool. So questions, comments, critiques, concerns, take a couple of those, and then I'm going to go head out and then enjoy the rest of the day. Got a couple meetings today, meeting some owner operators. Pretty excited about that. Make some connections. Fridays where I usually try to do a lot of networking. All the things I talk about in Financial Abundance Blueprint, I do so myself. And you might think it's the fundamentals. I try to make it fundamentals, but also building up from there because fundamentals are key. Like you need to know that, right? I find it appalling sometimes where people will graduate from finance or business school, but then have like a negative net worth after. I don't understand how school can teach us financial literacy, but then not be applied, right? So it's kind of crazy. Cool. Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for everyone joining today. If there are no questions, that's all good. I'll see you guys at the next sessions. I might even be throwing some free real estate sessions next week on Tuesday, but we'll see how that goes. Keep you posted on that. Stay tuned. Make sure to follow Alliance Real Estate. Make sure to follow myself if you don't already. If you're serious about taking things to the next level, whether you're already in business or you want to get into real estate and you want to just help with being financially abundant, make sure to DM me the word blueprint. I'd love to chat. And then if you have other questions, just DM me. My DMs are always open. It is me answering on that. So I'd love to connect. I'd love to get you to financial abundance.
The knowledge I had with real estate wasn't that great, and that's when I knew I needed a mentor to guide me through the steps of minimizing my mistakes and obtaining property. It kept me accountable with the limited time I had after the long hours at work. It taught me things I wouldn't have learned without a mentor.
Thank you to Patrick. Big help, helping with pretty much everything ever since I started. So big shout out to Patrick and Alliance.
Nice. Yeah, Nick's an action taker, so we can help guide you, but you still got to do work, and Nick is a testimonial for that.
Sure.
And thank you again, Patrick, for this program. It changed my life. It changed my mindset. It changed everything. That was the best six weeks of my life.
I just want to give a shout out to my man Patrick. Just honestly been one of the best teachers that I've ever had.
It's a very informative course. Patrick works with you one-on-one, so if there's any questions or anything you might be doubting or you're uncertain of, he'll definitely be there to help. Honestly, highly suggest this course. It's taught me a lot through my journey.